Hi all, this is Skate, and it's pretty obvious from what's on the screen and from the fact you clicked the thumbnail that this is the E50-M, and it looks the business. Now that's not usually a turn of phrase I would use, however, the E50-M I think is quite easily an amazing looking tank. And oh yeah, check that out, no premium time, it's run out. But I think I have enough certificates to last me the next 6 months. So there's no money being spent on premium time on this account. That's not down to not wanting, that's down to not needing. With that many certificates being stored up, why would I need to buy premium time when I have enough there? Irrelevant from this video, but I think this is the only video I've ever put up where I don't have a premium garage in the background. So I can guarantee it's going to get commented on. But what I want to focus on is the E50-M, because it's an absolute monster of a tank, yet statistically it's an slightly underperforming medium tank. You'll find players who do absolutely amazing in this tank, and you'll find players who really struggle in this tank. And the reason, in my opinion, is this is quite a technical tank. It's not your usual, well, rusky medium. It's not your stereotypical tier 10 medium. There's a knack to playing it, and it's almost a heavy playstyle, but with medium tank mobility and below average medium tank DPM, but way above average accuracy. I mean, with the setup I'm running, the gun dispersion on this is 0.27. That is insane. I want to quickly cover the armour and then go into the garage part, and then we can discuss the gameplay in more depth while we look at the replays. The first thing with the armour, I mean, the key things you need to know is your big weaknesses. That lower plate there is one of them. It's 100mm thick, and then the next one you want to look at, this. It has 250mm of armour in those areas. Now I'm going to come back to that in a little bit more depth, because the next one you want to look at then is the commander's hatch. 150mm of armour on that. But it's hard to hit because it's very small. Now that turret face, below the gun, 250mm of armour. However, when you turn the turret away from a tank like this, that cheek, with only 80mm of armour, is easily penetratable. And obviously it's the same for the other side. As soon as you turn your gun at this angle, that cheek is easily penetrated. Which means you want to be pointing your turret at the enemy at all times. Now it only has, I say only, it has 250mm on the front. So medium tanks will struggle with it, some heavies will, every tank destroyer will penetrate it, providing they can hit it. And when you're looking at them straight on, that 80mm, if you can see, goes at a very, very aggressive angle, and it's pretty much an auto ricochet. Always point your gun at the guy shooting at you, in other words. It's easier to penetrate 80mm unangled than 250mm unangled. Now my loadouts, as you can see, is pretty much my standards. Ammunition, I go 32 on the APCR, 8 heat and 8 HE. And on my equipment front, calibrated shells. I don't run a gun rammer. This tank doesn't have the greatest DPM to begin with, but I think 257mm on a medium tank is very tasty. And as you don't have the greatest DPM, it all counts. Now enhanced cabin is the next one I use, because minus 10% damage to ramming, and E50Ms love ramming. I then go with a gun lane drive, enhanced armour, because that's only going to help things further, and then I will go with, I always forget what that's called, improved control to try and help the traverse. And then go with a vertical stabilizer. I haven't actually got one, I'm just sticking one on now while making this video. And then if you're going to go further, go with an enhanced tracks and a cooldown delivery system. Or rather, the consumable delivery system. Now I've got literally tons of footage in this tank that I really want to share, because I really enjoy playing this tank. Like I said, it looks the business, and it is great fun to play. So I've got tons, so I'm definitely, without fail, making a part 2 to this one. So although the E50-M is big, it's heavy, it still has pretty damn good mobility. which is why I'm going right up to this ridge, and I'm going to try and spot, and we do spot. Now in Blitz, the E50-M has 8 degrees of gun depression, which is pretty respectable. However, you can't get that full gun depression directly over the front. The exact angle my turret is at the moment is where you can get the full 8 degrees of gun depression. When you're looking straight, you have 6 degrees at absolute maximum. That's an important thing to note, because just turning your turret or your hull slightly in another direction gives you an extra 2 degrees of gun depression. And on a ridge like this, that makes all the difference, because you can strengthen the angle on your lower plate, get better gun depression, which makes you a much harder, bouncier target. I've got a feeling I just said lower plate. If I did, I meant upper plate. Anyway, we've got some good spotting done by here. And we are working this ridge very, very well. I'm not getting a lot of damage into one specific tank. We had a good go over that tortoise, and I think we were annoying him by getting shots on him constantly without. And that's thanks to the amazing accuracy of this gun. Now the other thing you'll notice, or some of you'll notice I did there, I used that rock on the right hand side to drive up behind while I was shooting tanks on my left. The reason being is it protected me from those tanks on the right hand side. Too often I see people drive right up the middle here and leave themselves completely exposed on the right. So if you can use these rocks on your right hand side to protect you from the tanks, usually tank destroyers up there, make sure you do so, because it makes all the difference between taking a nasty shot off a big tank destroyer sitting at the back. Or, I completely forgot about this one, you may take a big shot off a camping IS-4. Didn't expect him to be there. But regardless, we managed to get a nice shot back into him, and somebody else took a big old shot out of him as well. And I'm trying to work this IS-7, because as soon as we manage to get him taken out, then my friendlies who are on that side who the IS-7 is blocking can then come around and flank. Now the other thing about the E50-M, that upper plate is 150mm thick, which means when you're on a ridge like this, and you're angled, or your plate's angled so well, it's about 400mm thick, which means nothing is going to penetrate that upper plate. Now if you're on IS-7 and you can make a crazy snapshot into the lower plate, that's irrelevant. Now, aside from that, another thing worth noting on this tank is when that upper plate, when you're facing it directly and you're on the flat, that upper plate is about 270 to 280mm thick, which makes it, again, very difficult for most things to penetrate. But you should never point your tank or your turret, you should never point your hull directly at a tank. You should do it at the sort of angle we're at here, so your gun's just over the side, like you're in a side-scraping position, because that upper front plate goes from around 270 to 280, from around 290 to 300. That's very hard to penetrate just from adding some angling on the flat. But obviously all they're going to do is, like this, aim for your lower plate. Obviously it's the end of this match, so I don't care. However, if you can't hide your lower plate with a corpse of a tank, or a ridge, or anything like that, drive as close as you can to them. Get underneath their level of gun depression, because if they can't get their gun depression down on your lower plate, quite simply, they're going to struggle to penetrate you. Now this game was a mastery, 4,392 damage. Doesn't seem that great for a mastery. The reason we got a mastery for just 1 kill and 4,392 damage was spotting. In this game we spotted 6 of the enemies, and we have 1,700 worth of assistance damage. So it's a good game, but it doesn't really highlight all of the really good strong features of the E50-M. Any medium tank can go out and do some spotting and sit on a ridge and be very strong. E50-M is a very hard hitter in terms of its armour, but it's still very mobile. Now I'm the only medium tank, and you can see that the grill has said don't rush E50-M. But I'm a medium tank, and they have no medium tanks on the red team, which give me an advantage, or give that team an advantage of mobility. So I'm going to come up to these bushes by here, and as the only medium tank, I'm going to see if I can spot anything, and if I can't, I'm going to push ahead. Wait, what? Oh, okay. I'll try. I'm not the only medium tank. There's a Centurion on my team. So let me start again. Hang on. Why did the grill tell me not to rush and not the Centurion? Surely he should say, meds don't rush, rather than E50-M, don't rush. Why is he targeting me? It's irrelevant. Anyway, we're medium tanks. 2 of us. That gives our team an advantage, a mobility advantage. Now that shot there is a lovely example of what the accuracy is like on this E50-M. It's amazing. It is really, really good. That's a bad example of it, but in all fairness, I was moving, didn't aim, so ignore that shot. The shot prior gives a very, very nice example. And you will see several more like that throughout this game. Not the bad ones, the good snapshots. Yeah, mobility was what I was on about before. I rambled off about snapshots. Now, it's a big, heavy tank, but it still has very, very good mobility, although you could say the acceleration is a little bit slow, which gave me and this Centurion the advantage of being able to get onto a flank, because the Reds don't have any medium tanks. So rather than go in one big group, let's use our mobility to an advantage to make them fight on 2 fronts. If we just went in one big group, it would be blow for blow. Now, that AMX as an example has to watch in front of him and behind him because we're over by here. And so far it's been a very close game. It looks like the Reds every time always kill one more tank just before we manage to kill one of theirs. And obviously we have a Centurion on very, very low health. So the scales are in the enemy team's favour at the moment, especially as they've just knocked out another one of ours. And you'll notice at this point, I'm gunning forward. The reason I'm gunning forward is to try and take the shots for the other 2 on my team, because I have the health to do it. And if I can keep that Centurion alive by taking the shots, that's one more gun to help hopefully win this one back. And I may not bounce these shots because I'm ignoring the IS-4 and I'm trying to take out the grill, who does get a big one into me. I've still taken a very dangerous tank out. And I've managed to distract this E75 by here, which is enough to bring him back to me, away from my friendly grill, and the Centurion is about to finish him off. But it's amazing how just distracting people can make all the difference in a game. We were in a 3-on-4 situation. The IS-4 is about to kill my Centurion on my team, but we just managed to finish him in time. So we've gone, again, from a 4-on-3 situation to a 1-on-3 situation in our favour. However, that last tank is a mouse, and that mouse has full hit points. We don't. It would be very, very stupid to run out in front of that mouse right now, because he has his full hit points. He could annihilate us all if we just sit out in front of him. Now at the moment the mouse is doing the right thing. He's trying to focus down the low health tanks on my team first, because they're both one-shots for him. What I'm trying to do is track him and do damage to the weakest part of his tank, which is obviously that rear lower plate, and through his lower track wheel. Miss the first 2, get the 3rd one, do damage, and get his track. However, the mouse did manage to finish off the Centurion. The next shot again does take his track off, however, this time we did no damage. Although we did no damage, doesn't actually matter because it gave us the ability to get on the other side of the mouse. So the mouse has a grill basically on one side of him and an E50-M on the other side. And you can see he's trying to put attention on me now. And you can also see he just launched a HE at my face, which just isn't going to work on this tank. And as we've got his flat sides, it's not a problem penetrating him, especially if you go for the upper middle section where there is no spaced armour, which means an easy finish for him. Now the girl's saying pathetic. I have absolutely no idea why. He actually had a very good game. I had a very good game, so I have no idea what he is on about. But that one was a little bit more exciting than the previous game. It gave us 5,579 damage, 31,000 credit, which isn't bad for a tier 10, and we obviously got 5 kills that time. And the grill on our team also had a very, very good game, 4,346 damage. So although I don't really like the fact he was moaning on, or I have no idea why he was moaning at in all honesty, he still had a very, very good game, and the pair of us together, I like to think, carried that team. But we also got 1,135 assistance or spotting damage in that one as well. This game, however, is my favourite, because this game is shorter than the previous ones you've seen, and there's much more damage in it, and it's much more action-packed, which is the fun and the most enjoyable way to play the E50-M. Now, we have a severe medium tank disadvantage up here, which is why we're running straight down, leaving the medium tanks to it. They can capture C up there, I can run down, and I can very aggressively go straight across to B. It's probably not the wisest of moves, because we're pretty much cutting straight round to potentially where the red heavies and tank destroyer would be. But there is one of their heavies. He appears to be AFK. He's not, he's just a little bit sleepy. He will wake up momentarily. Which is the approach I will always take if I think he's AFK or not. You'll see I've turned my hull straight away to hide my lower plate, and I'm constantly going for his track. So when he does eventually wake up, I'm hoping he will still be tracked, and I can basically just continue to take his health. But if he did shoot back at me, well, my lower plate was hidden. Now, yeah, there's a lot going on behind me all of a sudden. All the medium tanks have come rushing down. Now that I'm face-hugging this guy, he's in a lot of trouble. You can see his gun frantically going round. Now, I'm pointing my gun up at his upper left there, and then once I've finished looking there, I'll shoot down in the bottom right. The reason I do that is because when I put my gun up and left, it helps to hide that 150mm thick commander's hatch. And you'll see now that I'm a bit further away from him, I'll try and keep my gun straight so he can't go through those 80mm cheeks. And now the 140's come to join the party, you'll see him side scraping and ramming that guy to finish him off. Bounces the return shell off the 140. Side scraping again so the AMX doesn't get me. However, we do snap one off. Just clip him as he gets behind the building. So side scraping is life and death in this tank, and it makes such a difference. And there's another bounced shot. And I like to think we've pretty much held off a fair few tanks in this one spot. Object 140 is now rushed by the rest of my team, which means we could quickly come out and snap one more on him. And then an E50 comes from behind us. And you'll see what I mean about the cheeks by here. I've got that one into the side of his tank. However, now I'm face-hugging him. He is going to struggle. But look where I shoot this E50. I'm looking for the lower areas of his turret. And now the Leo's come to join the party. I'm going to use the E50-M to protect me from said Leo. Again, I'm looking for the lower areas of his turret. And I'm now going to side scrape off this tank to shoot at the Leo. Now, as soon as he has shot, it gives me my advantage to get out and do plenty of damage from ramming him. That's the equivalent of another shot, just by ramming. But I waited until he had shot to come out because it gave me that time to obviously squeeze out without the risk of him getting at my lower plate. But that game was 10 times more exciting. That's exactly why I like this tank. And that one was 6,493 damage, 4 kills, a steel wall, and a mastery and a top gun, along with a high caliber. Those are the games I enjoy in the E50-M. You've got such heavy armour on the front, and you've got such good track traverse. You can turn your armour so quick to face people. Now, if you're fairly new to the game, I don't think the E50-M is a tank worth going for. If you're experienced in how to angle your armour, and how to be effective with angling, then it's definitely a tank which you will really, really enjoy. But I hope you have enjoyed the video, guys. E50-M, I love it, so I'll definitely try and get some more stuff out as soon as I can on it. Thank you all for watching, and I will catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.